Chapter 30. They all raised their heads, listening. Shh! There it is again. But the voice was too far away for them to hear what it was saying. It's a cloud man, Miss Spider cried. I just know it's a cloud man. They're after us again. It came from above, the earthworm said, and automatically everybody looked upward. Everybody except the centipede, who couldn't move. Ouch, they said. Help! Mercy! We're going to catch it this time. For what they saw now, swirling and twisting directly over their heads, was an immense black cloud, a terrible, dangerous, thundery-looking thing that began to rumble and roar even as they were staring at it. And then, from high up on the top of the cloud, the faraway voice came down to them once again, this time very loud and clear. On with the faucets! It shouted. On with the faucets! On with the faucets! 3 seconds later, the hole underneath of the cloud seemed to split and burst open like a paper bag. And then out came the water. They saw it coming. It was quite easy to see because it wasn't just raindrops. It wasn't raindrops at all. It was a great solid mass of water that might have been a lake or a whole ocean dropping out of the sky on top of them. And down it came, down and down and down, crashing first on the seagulls and then onto the peach itself, while the poor travellers shrieked with fear and groped around frantically for something to catch hold of. The peach stem, the silk strings, anything they could find. And all the time the water came pouring and roaring down upon them, bouncing and smashing and sloshing and slashing and swashing and swirling and surging and swirling and gurgling and gushing and rushing, and it was like being pinned down underneath the biggest waterfall in the world and not being able to get out. They couldn't speak. They couldn't see, they couldn't breathe, and James Henry Trotter, holding on madly to one of the silk strings above the peach stem, told himself that this must surely be the end of everything at last. But then, just as suddenly as it had started, the deluge stopped. They were out of it, and it was all over. The wonderful seagulls had flown right through it and had come out safely on the other side. Once again, the giant peach was sailing peacefully through the mysterious moonlit sky. I'm drowned, gasped the old green grasshopper, spitting out water by the pint. It's gone, right through my skin, the earthworm groaned. I always thought my skin was waterproof, but it isn't, and now I'm full of rain. Look at me! Look at me! Shouted the centipede excitedly. It's washed me clean. The paint's all gone. I can move again. That's the worst news I've had in a long time, the earthworm said. The centipede was dancing around the deck and turning somersaults in the air and singing on the top of his voice. Oh, hooray for the storm and the rain! I can move. I don't feel any pain. And now I'm a pest. I'm the biggest and best. The most marvellous pest once again. Oh, do be quiet, the old green grasshopper said. Look at me, cried the centipede. Look at me, I am freed, I am freed. Not a scratch, nor a bruise, nor a bleed. To his grave this fine gent they all thought they had sent, and I very near went. Oh, I very near went. But they sent quite the wrong centipede. Chapter 31. How fast we are going, all of a sudden, the ladybird said. I wonder why. I don't think the seagulls like this place any better than we do, James answered. I imagine they want to get out of it as soon as they can. They got a bad fright in that storm we've just been through. Faster and faster flew the seagulls, skimming across the sky at a tremendous pace, with the peach trailing out behind them. Cloud after cloud went by on either side, all of them ghostly white in the moonlight. And several more times during the night the travellers caught glimpses of cloudmen moving around on the tops of these clouds, working their sinister magic upon the world below. Once they passed a snow machining operation, with the cloudmen turning the handle and a blizzard of snowflakes blowing out of the great funnel above. They saw the huge drums that were used for making thunder, and the cloudmen beating them furiously with long hammers. They saw the frost factories and the wind producers and the places where cyclones and tornadoes were manufactured and sent spinning down towards the earth. And once Deep in the hollow of a large billowy cloud, they spotted something that they could only have been a cloudman's city. There were caves everywhere running into the cloud, and at the entrances to the caves the cloudmen's wives were crouching over little stoves with frying pans in their hands, frying soft snowballs for their husbands' suppers. And hundreds of cloudmen's children were frisking about all over the place and shrieking with laughter and sliding down the billows of the cloud on toboggans. An hour later, just before dawn, the travellers heard a soft whooshing noise above their heads, and they glanced up and saw an immense grey bat-like creature swooping down towards them out of the dark. It circled around and round the peach, flapping its great wings slowly in the moonlight and staring at the travellers. Then it uttered a series of long, deep, melancholy cries and flew off again into the night. "Oh, I do wish the morning would come," Miss Spider said, shivering all over. "It won't be long now," James answered. "Look, it's getting lighter over there already." They all sat in silence, watching the sun as it came up, slowly over the rim of the horizon for a new day. Chapter 32. And when full daylight came at last, they all got to their feet and stretched their poor cramped bodies, and then the centipede, who always seemed to see things first, shouted, "Look! There's land below!" "He's right," they cried, running to the edge of the peach and peering over. "Hooray! Hooray! It looks like streets and houses! But how enormous it all is! A vast city, glistening in this early morning sunshine, lay spread out 3,000 feet below them. At that height, the cars were like little beetles crawling along the streets, and people walking on the pavements looked no larger than tiny grains of soot." "But what a tremendously tall buildings!" exclaimed the ladybird. "I've never seen anything like them before in England. Which town do you think it is?" "This couldn't possibly be England," said the old green grasshopper. "Then where is it?" asked Miss Spider. "You know what those buildings are?" shouted James, jumping up and down with excitement. "Those are skyscrapers! So this must be America! And that, my friends, means that we have crossed the Atlantic Ocean overnight." "You don't mean it," they cried. "It's not possible. It's incredible. It's unbelievable. Oh, I've always dreamed of going to America," cried the centipede. "I had a dream once who—" "Be quiet," said the earthworm. "Who cares about your friend? The thing we've got to think about now is how on earth are we going to get down to Earth?" "Ask James," said the ladybird. "I don't think that should be so very difficult," James told them. "All we'll have to do is to cut loose a few seagulls. Not too many, mind you, but just enough so that the others can't quite keep us up in the air. Then down we shall go, slowly and gently, until we reach the ground. Centipede will bite through the strings for us, one at a time."